This is Elizabeth Griffin, the Black romance writer, reporting to you live from South Philadelphia with breaking news. The American Arrangement is a daily show that discusses the current things going on in Philadelphia. And today we are going to talk about hobbies. Do you have one? Do you need one? How do you spend your spare time? What do you do when you're not working, when you're not watching television, when you're not reading a book? Are there things in your life that you would like to do that you haven't done before, like surfing, like skiing, like bowling or swimming? There are so many hobbies that you can pick up. And of course, a lot of you may say, well, I don't have the time. I'm a mother or I'm a father, or I work 80 hours in 2 weeks and I have no spare time. Well, let's talk about it today. Let's see if that is true or if you can figure out a way to steal a couple of hours a week from your daily activities in order to enjoy yourself, in order to learn maybe a language, in order to do something that you haven't done before. Or perhaps when you were a child, you like art. You can still do it now. Let's talk about the reasons why hobbies are an important part of your life. According to PhD Jamie L. Kurtz, who has an online article on Psychology Today, there are 6 reasons to get a hobby. And you are not too busy, even though you may think you are. As a get-to-know-you exercise, I recently asked a new crop of college students what their hobbies were. Some were taken aback. Hobbies? What a frivolous thing. Who has the time? They were not alone. Nowadays, we are just unbearably, painfully, overwhelmingly busy. Between running the kids from piano to soccer to math tutoring, keeping a tidy home, and staying on top of a constant influx of emails, how can there be time for anything, for any fun? I can definitely identify with the words in this article. They resonate with me on so many levels. I may not be raising a young family any longer. However, I find that I do not seem to have enough time to do the things that I want. After working a 40-hour week and trying to write a novel and trying to publish several books, in addition to doing my online posts, how can I possibly have time to do anything else? How can I possibly take up a hobby? There just isn't time. Well, according to this article, that is not the truth. In the influential book, Bowling Alone, Robert Putnam documents a sweeping decline in civic engagement, from PTA membership to neighborhood potlucks to, yes, bowling leagues. Over a couple of generations, Americans have somehow misplaced their free time. Various things contribute to this, but for many of us, being legitimately busy simply isn't one of them. Instead, we habitually waste time creating the illusion of busyness. Facebook, emails, Netflix, you pick your poison. If you're like me, you don't wake up in the morning with the goal of squandering so many precious moments on social media, but it often happens, and this is unaccounted for time that can be better spent elsewhere. Consider the possibility that you're not as busy as you think. In her recent book, Overwhelmed, Work, Love, and Play, When No One Has the Time, Bridget Schultz argues that I'm too busy has become a badge of honor, a sign of virtue and importance. We have done a bang-up job of convincing ourselves that we're super busy. Don't buy into it. You have the time for a hobby or two. Why do you need a hobby? Well, hobbies help you structure your time. According to a Parkinson's law, work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion. More simply put, things take as much time as you have. So when the evening stretches out before you, unscheduled, you might find yourself laboring over that work project or answering emails into the wee hours. Chances are, if you had choir practice or a book club meeting that night, you would get those tasks done much more quickly. So hobbies can seem to create more time by encouraging efficiency. Hobbies promote flow. Left to our own devices, we often opt for passive leisure. TV and web surfing are at the top of most people's lists. And sure, we all need to veg out from time to time, but we are so much more invigorated by active leisure, the sort of thing psychologist Mihai Csikszentmihalyi calls flow activities. If you've ever lost yourself in a sport, art project, or other challenging, absorbing activities, you've experienced flow. Time flies, self-consciousness disappears, and you are fully immersed in that activity at hand. Hobbies, especially those that stretch our skills, foster this desire and increasingly elusive state. Did you know hobbies can foster a new social connection? While some hobbies are solitary endeavors, many get us out in our communities, meeting people we otherwise wouldn't, sharing our passions, and forming new bonds. Countless studies have found that social connection is a key component of happiness and a meaningful life, and hobbies have the potential to create precious ties. Did you know that hobbies make you interesting? Hobbies give you something to talk about at parties, at cookouts, at social events. They add a layer to your identity, a richness to your self-concept. People want to be around those with passions, with a sense of curiosity, with stories to tell. And with a hobby, you definitely will have that. Hobbies help you to cope with stress. Imagine a rough day at the office where your boss harshly criticizes you. You could come home and turn on the television and relax for a moment, but does that really address your damaged ego? Does that really help you to deal with the stresses of that day? Now imagine after work you headed to the soccer league or to a pottery class. These activities are more than just merely distracting. They remind you that you have many facets to your self-concept. Employee, yes, but also an athlete or an artist. As such, a blow to one aspect of your identity is less damaging. Simply put, do not place all of your eggs in one basket. And hobbies, having a hobby or two, will help you to do that. And having a hobby can spill over into other aspects of your life. If you can designate an hour a day or even a few hours a week for something you feel truly inspired and enlivened by, don't be surprised if some of that newfound zest carries over into your work and your family. So what should you choose as your new hobby? Maybe there's something you've always wanted to do, like learning to knit, gardening, or playing the piano. Maybe there's something you used to love that you stopped doing. Perhaps you could reach out to a new organization or a community choir, softball team, or book club. If you're feeling really open-minded, you could browse the local newspaper and pick something on a whim. Beekeeping? That sounds interesting. Just don't follow that phrase, well, maybe someday, when the kids leave the house or when I've retired. Carve out the time and find a hobby now. You have more time than you think you do. Jamie L. Kurtz, PhD, gives 6 reasons to get a hobby. Do you agree with her? Do you think that having a hobby will enrich your whole life and give you something to do so that you are not wasting time surfing the internet or watching television? For me, I found the article very useful and very informative. Some of the things that I would like to do for a hobby would be surfing. I've always thought that would be interesting. Also, I would definitely love to get back to drawing and illustrating. So, thank you again for joining my channel.